Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 8th April today, and in this video we are going to solve some important questions which could be very much relevant for your preparation. But as usual, before we start our discussion, I would like to give the brief introduction about this initiative so that if you are new to our channel, you will get more connected with us. I will be very precise in it. In this video, we are going to discuss three types of questions, and these questions would be taken from three different sources. So depending on it, the first set of questions which we are going to discuss here would be taken from the current affairs. What we are going to do. We'll take up the most important articles from the newspapers. We'll try to discuss them, and we will frame the prelims based question from that particular article and discuss that question so that it will give the idea which part of the newspaper is important for you, what should be your approach when you are reading these news articles, and how you can expect a possible prelims question from these particular articles. This is what we are going to do in the first phase of our discussion, and most of the questions which we are going to discuss here would revolve around this part. After solving questions with respect to current affairs, we will shift our approach to the second part. Here we will discuss questions from the static portion. As currently we are discussing Indian polity, and in Indian polity we are discussing the in Indian polity we are discussing the Parliament of India, and in Parliament of India we are discussing the Lok Sabha. So today we are going to discuss few concepts related to Lok Sabha so that it will give the exact idea what is important for you. It will give the idea about those topics which seem unimportant to us, and UPSC surprises us by asking questions from those discrete topics, so that after discussing these questions here, it will give the proper idea what is important for you and how UPSC can ask a prelims question from those particular articles too, from those particular topics too. After solving questions from the current affairs and the static part, we will shift our approach to the last part of our discussion, where we will discuss questions from the previous year question book. To me, this is one of the most important part, because in here we learn what is the vocabulary used by UPSC over the years, how they change the trend of framing the papers. We will try to learn that, we will try to understand that, and at the same time we will try to understand different elimination techniques which we can implement in the exam, in the questions of which we don't have the proper knowledge, and still solve them. And at the same time we will try to understand how we can implement this knowledge in the upcoming exam and benefit us from this information. So this is in a nutshell what we are going to do in this video. Now before we start our discussion, I would like to request you guys, please do subscribe the channel, do share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative, and please do write in the comments what else should we bring for you guys. With this let's have a look at the first question which we had brought here. On the screen you can see the question is basically about the National Testing Agency. If you would have read the newspaper today, you would have not seen any article particular to National Testing Agency. Why we had brought this question here, we will discuss that before we will solve the question. So let's solve the question first. Here the question says, which of the following statements regarding the National Testing Agency are correct? First statement, the National Testing Agency is an autonomous organization established under the aegis of the Ministry of Education, formerly Ministry of Human Resources Development. 100% correct, nothing wrong with the statement. It comes under the Ministry of Education. Here I would like to mention one thing. Usually most of the times, I would say 70% of the times, whenever there is any statement, any question which is in this way, as we had asked here, a statement about the ministry and different other statements, whenever any such question is asked in the exam, most of the times the statement in which the ministry is mentioned is incorrect, and the chances are 70% of the times the statement in which ministry is mentioned, that would be incorrect in the exam. So please remember that if you have to solve the question in the exam and you would want to score more and you don't have any option, then you can implement these elimination techniques. I would like to add it here. So first statement correct here with respect to this question, the Ministry of Education, which under which the NTA comes, NTA works. Second statement, its primary objective is to conduct efficient, transparent and international standard tests to assess the competency of candidates for admissions to premier higher education institutions. 100% correct, nothing wrong with the statement. We can assume it is correct. Third statement, It says the governing body of the NTA is chaired by the Secretary of the Department of Higher Education, Ministry of Education. No, totally incorrect. Who chairs the governing body? It is some eminent educationalist who would chair it, and he would be appointed by the government. So third statement here is incorrect. Here we would had, if we would had looked at the options, then we would just have to solve the third statement. We would have established the answer. But as you know how we discussed this question, so with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option A. So with this, I hope you had understood the question here. Now let's jump to the context of the question, why we are discussing this question. Even though there was no direct mention of the National Testing Agency, but definitely there was article about the NEET exams, there was article about it. So actually there was discussion over it. The Tamil Nadu government, they passed the bill in which they want to come out of the NEET, so that they want to have their separate exams with respect to the medical sciences, with respect to undergraduate students, so that they will enjoy the what Tamil Nadu government can provide them. And here the Tamil Nadu government, why they want to secede away from the NEET? Because they have some particular reasons. First of all, they think that this one stop examination for all these medical courses, it is not the solution. It in a way, according to Tamil Nadu government, it in a way degrades the government school students. It in a way is very much in favor of the students belonging to CBSE schools, and those students who belong to the government schools, they get least benefited from that, and there is a kind of bias in it. So that is the first thing which was highlighted by the Tamil Nadu government. Second thing, they believe that every state, having a NEET exam for every state, conducting it in a centralized manner is not the solution, because every state has their own criteria. Our country, we have a diverse demography in our country, we have diverse cultures, and they have their own learning abilities. So with respect to them, the syllabus would be different, and with respect to their learning abilities, the syllabus should be different, and combining this need for this diverse country is not the solution. And also, as we mentioned in the first statement, they highlighted that how it has a bias towards the CBSE students, and in a way the Tamil Nadu government believes that this NEET examination, as it being the centralized examination, it in a way dilutes the local languages. It in a way dilutes those students who had learned in the local languages. So these are a few concerns raised by the Tamil Nadu government, and they in this regard, they passed the bill to secede away from the NEET exams, and it was passed by their legislative assembly, and it was recommended, it was sent for the governor's assent. But what did governor do? We know that there is always a tussle between the governor and the Tamil Nadu government, and first governor withheld it and sent it back. When the Tamil Nadu government sent it back, then the governor reserved this bill for the president. So here in this article, this is the story. Now what does the author here wants to mention? That here the author says this is not the solution. What the Tamil Nadu government is doing with respect to this, it is not the solution. That in this way they are going to impact the students who are preparing for this. Their minds will get disturbed. They will feel that whether this NEET exam would be for them or not. So it will disturb the students. It is not the point of discussion, because we have the concurrent list. Education is in the concurrent list. The center has the law there, and we know that center's law will prevail. And for the Tamil Nadu government to prevail their law, president should give the accent, and we hardly believe that president will give accent to this bill. So here the author says it is not the time. This is not how the Tamil Nadu government or other states should deal with this NEET examination. This is not the solution right now. They should concentrate on the students' well-being. They should concentrate on their education, what is good for them. They should provide them the materials rather than disturbing them, and rather than giving them the unnecessary discussion about whether their exams should be conducted by NEET whether their exams should be same as the NEET, whether their exams would be integrated with the NEET or not. That should not be the discussion, because it will in a way dilute the students' mentality, and it will dilute their preparation. So this is what the author here highlights. This is what the author here suggests what the Tamil Nadu government should do with respect to this. So this is the nutshell of the crux of the article which was in the newspaper. So I hope you had understood that. why it is in news? Because of the NEET. And why we came to the National Testing Agency? Because the NEET exams are conducted by the National Testing Agency. That's why we came to this. And also we saw that in 2024 how NTA was in the news because of the, there were few charges against NTA, that there were allegations of paper leak, allegations of grace marks and all that. So NTA becomes important for us for our prelims examination this year. So with this, I hope you had understood the question as well as the context of the question. Now with this, let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought here. Well, here, as you can see, the question is again with respect to the delimitation. We had, if you would had followed me, we had in a way, I guess, discussed it every way possible what was necessary for you. We had discussed it, how it was stopped frozen in 1976 by the 42nd Amendment Act for till 2001, and then how through 84th Amendment Act it was frozen till 2026. How 2003 Amendment Act, in this act, how the delimitation was done, but only the boundaries were altered, not the number of seats, number of the members in the parliament were altered. We had discussed everything with respect to that. So here, as it came again in the news, what I thought, let's bring a question which can revise you, which can give you some important points which are important for you, which can be asked in the exams. So let's solve the question here. Let's try to find out what does the question say and try to solve the question here. The question says, which of the following constitutional amendments are directly related to the process and scope of delimitation of parliamentary and assembly? First statement, the constitutional 42nd Amendment Act 1976, 100% correct. 84th Amendment Act 2002 and 87th Amendment Act 2003, all the three are correct. So with respect to this question, the correct answer would be option D, that is 1, 2 and the 3. So with this, I hope you had understood the question and the context. We know we are discussing it from last 1 to 2 months now. Now let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought there. Well, here again, it's the same topic, linking of Aadhaar with the voter ID, but with a little update here. Here the Election Commission has highlighted that, if we want to, why does the government want to link the Aadhaar with the voter ID? What is the reason for that? The reason is that, why does, in a way, opposition demand that there should be the linking of the Aadhaar with the voter ID? The reason is that the duplication of voters, which is the major issue, duplication of the voters, which is the major issue with respect to the Indian elections. So to overcome this issue, the authorities, they believe that there should be the linking of the Aadhaar with voter ID. But the Election Commission of India says here that Aadhaar, if we look at the 2017 judgment of the Supreme Court, the famous Patuswamy judgment, in that the Supreme Court has highlighted very much important. So here, what does the Election Commission of India says? For example, if Aadhaar is mandatory, then how can we link this Aadhaar with the voter ID card? It would also remain mandatory. So if it will remain mandatory, would it solve our problem of the duplication? It would never solve the problem of duplication if it is mandatory. If not 100% of the voters ID in the India, consider the following statement. First statement, the primary objective of the linking Aadhaar with voter ID is to eliminate fraudulent and duplicate entries in the electoral rolls, thereby ensuring a cleaner and more accurate voter database. 100% correct. As there was allegations with respect to Maharashtra elections, when the opposition they declared that more than 40 lakh people were added in the voter list. Mandatory for all eligible voters by a recent amendment to the Establishment of Peoples Act 1950, totally incorrect and absurd statement. Third statement, concerns have been raised regarding the potential for disenfranchisement and privacy violations due to the mandatory linking of these two databases. 100% correct. This is one of the concerns which has been raised, and that's why this was made that it should be made mandatory, not the people should not be forced to have the Aadhaar cards under 2017 Patuswamy judgment. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. With this, I hope you had understood the question as well as the context of the question. Now let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought there. Well, here the question is with respect to the status of policing in India report. It has given the report and the results were very disturbing. It in a way did the survey, we can say, with respect to the different police officers, with respect to different policemen, and asked them questions with respect to the torture. Is torture necessary for is torture necessary against the criminals to get the information what the government needs for them or what the police needs from them? And according to the report, according to this report, 63% of the policemen said it is 100% necessary. So this shows what this mentality is growing on in our country. What is this? The colonial hangover which we have, the colonial hangover, and also the lack of trust from the judiciary, that is also one of the concern, and also the support which the people show to such incidents. For example, Mr. Dubey case, few years back, when he was he got killed in a car accident and he tried to run away, and he was killed in an encounter. So most of the people believe that that was a fake encounter, but what did the people do? They supported the decision of the police there. They in a way appreciated them, because there is the lack of trust in a way with respect to the judiciary, the time judiciary takes, and because of all these things, when it comes together, it in a way stays in the minds of the people. It in a way stays in the minds of the officers, in the minds of the policemen, that this torture, it is one of the way to get the information which is necessary. And also they are ignoring the issues what it can create. For example, in our country there are various custodial deaths, and they were highlighted by the various reports. For example, National Crimes Bureau, it has highlighted that there are in the year there are 76 cases of custodial death, and National Human Rights Commission, they highlight that there are 70 custodial deaths, and a separate NGO that has highlighted there were 111 custodial deaths. So definitely there are custodial deaths. And what are the reasons for these custodial deaths? Definitely these are the tortures, which are reasons for the custodial deaths. For why these tortures are done, so that the criminals accused, they will confess their crime. But is this the solution? Should this be the solution? Should the democratic country like ours behave like this? That is the real question, and the answer to this is big no. This is not how the democracy works. And with respect to this, even if our constitution itself protects this, you cannot go against yourself. You cannot confess against yourself. If you confess against with respect to the policeman, and that is not valid that is not valid in front of the judiciary. So there is definitely protection for the accused with respect to Article 20, but still it is prevailing, and because of this there are many custodial deaths. So this this report becomes important for us. We need to know which is the organization which publishes this report, and the results that become important for us if we reach to the mains exam. So let's solve the question here. The question says, the status of policing in India report provides an assessment of policing across Indian states. Which of the following statements regarding this report are correct? First statement, the report is primarily published by the National Crime Records Bureau. Totally incorrect. Annually, this is totally incorrect. It is published by the it is by an NGO, Common Cause, and Lok Niti Center for the Study of Developing Societies. These are the two we can say organizations which collaborate and publish this. So first statement is incorrect. Second statement, it offers insights into various aspects of policing, human resources, diversity, and public prospections. 100% correct. Third statement, the report's findings are solely based on the official data provided by the state police departments. This is totally incorrect. Not only its findings are not dependent solely on the official data which is provided by the state police department. It depends on various other data too. So with respect to this question, the third statement is incorrect. First statement is incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be statement B only, and from the code given below, the correct option would be option B. So with this, I hope you had understood the question as well as the context of the question while we were discussing it. Now with this, let's move to the last question from the current affairs part, and let's see what question we had brought there. Well, here the question is with respect to the Foreign Contributions Regulation Act 2010. Why it is in news? Because under this the foreign funds the Home Ministry has highlighted that the foreign funds which the NGOs or whatever which the organization receives, that foreign funds should be used within 4 years. It is a new update to this, so that's why we had brought this question. So let's solve the question here and get to know more about it. Here the question says, consider the following statements regarding the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010 and its amendments. First statement, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act regulates the acceptance and utilization of foreign contribution by individuals, associations and organizations in India to ensure that they function in a manner consistent with the national interests and security. 100% correct. But who are the, here you need to know who are the organizations or who are the offices which cannot take funds from them. Definitely judges cannot take the funds from them. The cartoonists cannot take the funds from them. Ministers and MLAs, they cannot take funds from these organizations. And also the civil servants, it was added recently, they cannot take the funds under this Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. So first statement is correct. Second statement, as per the recent amendments to the FCRA, the mandatory linking of other for key functionaries of an organization seeking registration or renewal has been removed. No, totally incorrect. It has been added that if you are the, for example, if any organization is seeking funds under FCRA, then they have to give the other cards of their directorates who are the officers who are working in the organization, who are the workers, and they have to give the other card of everybody who is working there. So second statement is incorrect. Third statement, the act prohibits the transfer of foreign contributions received by registered organization to any other association or individual, even if they are also registered under the FCRA. You know, earlier it used to be different. Earlier it was allowed that if there are two organizations who are registered under FCRA, then organization 1 can transfer the funds to the organization 2. But it has been amended. Now it can not be done so, because you know this. If any organization is getting the funds, they can use those funds for themselves only. And also earlier, please do remember that earlier, of the funds received by the organization under the FCRA, 50% of those funds could have been used for the administration purposes, but now it has been reduced to the 30%. So please do remember these points about the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010. So with this, I hope you had understood the question. The correct answer to this question would be option 1 and 3, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. With this, we had completed our discussion with respect to the questions from the current affairs. Now let's move to the another part where we will solve a question from the static portion. Well, here the question says, as currently we are discussing the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, let's see the question and try to understand these important concepts which are highlighted here. The question says, consider the following statements regarding the Speaker of the Lok Sabha and the members of the House. It shows, this question would show what is the model relationship between the Speaker and the Lok Sabha and the members of the Lok Sabha. First statement, the Speaker is elected by the members of both houses of the Parliament in a joint sitting convened for this purpose. No, this is totally incorrect. You know, if there is joint sitting, then the Speaker of the Lok Sabha would head the joint sitting. But for the Speaker, he is in a way he is elected by the members of the Lok Sabha only. So first statement becomes incorrect. Second statement, and he is the member of the Lok Sabha. Second statement, please do remember that while exercising their veto in the House, all members, including the Speaker, in the first instance have the right to vote on any other matter. Totally incorrect. We had discussed this. We had done the discussion with respect to this. The Speaker has the casting vote, not the first instance. So for the second statement is incorrect. The Speaker breaks the tie. Third statement, the Speaker can preside over a joint sitting of the both houses of the Parliament in case of disagreement between them on a legislative bill. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct answer would be option 3, option statement 3 only, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. With this, let's move to the another part where we will solve a previous year question. Well, here from today we are going to discuss questions with respect to the Indian geography, Indian physical geography. So here the question says, let's see, this question was asked in year 1995. And trust me, one thing I would like to mention here, that even though this trend has changed now, even though the UPSC is asking much more questions from the environment part rather than geography, but still these questions are important for you, because with respect to geography, there is one thing, what else can you ask? You know, you can't go beyond certain limit. There is always a limit with respect to geography, and with respect to geography, there are high chances that questions can get repeated. So please have a look at this question and answer the question here. The question says, the alpine vegetation in the western Himalayas is generally found up to a height of 300 meters. while in the eastern Himalayas it extends to up about 400 meters. So in a way it says in the eastern Himalayas the vegetation is more as compared to the western Himalayas. And what is the reason for that? So let's find the answer. First statement, the eastern Himalayas are significantly higher in average elevation than the western. Totally incorrect, absurd. Second statement, the eastern Himalayas are closer to the equator and the sea, experiencing high temperature and humidity at higher altitudes. Incorrect. Third statement, the rocks in the eastern Himalayas have higher mineral content. This is also not the answer. Fourth statement, the eastern Himalayas get more monsoon rainfall than the western Himalayas. That is exactly the true answer to this question. So with respect to this question, the answer will be option D. With this, we had completed our today's discussion. I hope you would have liked the video. I hope you would share it with your friends, and I definitely hope you would subscribe the channel. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.